Hello, everyone, and welcome to day two of the 2017 e-commerce marketers virtual summit. Of course, for this year's summit, we've been talking about PPC advertising, e-commerce SEO, and now for day two, our final day of the actual summit, we're going to be talking about CRO tactics as well as multi-channel expansion. In case you missed yesterday's sessions as well, just a reminder, this actually has been sponsored by CPC Strategy, SEM Rush, Trustpilot, and BigCommerce. For day two of the presentation, which is obviously today, it's going to be today's featured presentation is going to be by Trustpilot to kick things off, and then we're going to go into another presentation in about 2 hours, actually, 2 hours now, 2 p.m. Eastern time, with BigCommerce. I'm talking about multi-channel expansion. But in the meantime, I know there's more people going to be joining us for today's session. So kind of like I did in the past couple presentations, if you join those or what we've done in kind of all of our webinars here at CPC Strategy, maybe just shoot over in the chat box there to the right where you're airing from. Like I said, it's always interesting to get a sense of where the audience tends to air from. Gives us a sense kind of moving forward too. Maybe we adjust the times of these presentations, these webinars. So just shoot over in the chat box where you're airing from. Myself, Nick Cotter, Marketing Operations Coordinator, airing in the greater Boston area. Trustpilot is airing out of New York City. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but I do believe you guys are in New York City there. But let's see where everyone's kind of coming in from. We have Casey from Chicago. Welcome, Casey. Melissa from Fort Collins, Colorado. Welcome. Justin from Mississippi. Justin, I remember you from yesterday's session. Welcome back, Justin. Christina from Raleigh, North Carolina. Welcome, Christina. Mark from Philadelphia. Bill from Oregon. Another Bill from Dallas, Texas. Deborah from New York. And Austin, Texas. Okay, nice. Gary Wong from Minnesota. Cindy, let's see. New York City, welcome, Cindy. Let's see who else we have from any New York City natives as well. You know, Trustpilot's giving the presentation today, Aaron from New York City, I believe. So let's see who else we have from New York City. Tony from Australia. I believe Tony, you entered yesterday too. Correct me if I'm wrong, but 5 a.m. your time. I think that's what you said yesterday, but it might have been presentation too. So let's see who else we have. Robert from Los Angeles. Welcome, Robert. Wayne from Utah. Welcome, Wayne. Nice, good to have everyone here. So yeah, you know, kind of what we're doing right now before we kick everything off, if you kind of just joined the session, just kind of shoot over the chat box where we're airing from. Very interesting to see people airing from all over the country, and also we have some people from across the world too, from Australia as well. So you know, it's good to see where people are coming in from. Tony, all right, now 3 a.m. Wow, okay, that's commitment, Tony. I like it. That means we're providing high quality presentations. So if anyone didn't hear, Tony's airing from Australia. So. Welcome, Tony. It's good to have you back again. So let's see who else we have here. People coming in from Phoenix. Welcome, Dominic from Phoenix. Let's see who else. Robert from Australia. Yep, Los Angeles. Okay, cool. Well, let's see. 12:01 here. Actually, yeah, 12:01. Correct. Yeah. Let's kind of just get things started here. You know, I want to be respectful of everyone's time. We have a presentation, starting now. And we have another presentation in about 2 hours. So let's kind of get things moving here. So again, 2017 e-commerce marketers virtual summit sponsored by CPC Strategy, SEM Rush, Trustpilot, and BigCommerce. And so let's jump into kind of how the event layout has been going for this year's summit. The day one of the event, what we did is we talked about driving high quality traffic to your e-commerce site, CPC Strategy. We talked about top 5 game-changing PPC strategies that you can implement today. And then, of course, we had SEM Rush giving presentation 2, talking about an advanced SEO site audit, revealing if Google can find, crawl, index, and rank your site in 40 minutes or less. Very good presentations, got a lot of good feedback there. So if you did miss those presentations, everything's being recorded, and we will be sure to send those out. Hopefully, I can get those out to you early tomorrow morning. I'm working on the recordings right now, so if not, latest would be Friday, but you will receive all the recordings and presentations. And so let's jump into day 2. The overall theme here for day 2 is going to be talking about converting traffic and multi-channel expansion. So of course we have our featured speaker here to kick things off today, optimizing your key conversion points, 5 things you might have missed with Trustpilot. And then to finish things off, we have BigCommerce, director of marketing over there, Casey Armstrong, pretty close partner and friend of ours. He's going to be talking about why omni-channel selling is now table stakes in e-commerce. So a couple different presentations today should provide a lot of value to you. Ask questions, be a little more engaging for today's presentation. I'll be behind the scenes. That's kind of a nice segue into the e-commerce event logistics. As I mentioned, everything's going to be recorded and sent out to you. you have a question, send it over here in the chat box. I'll be behind the scenes again, going through all the different questions that you guys are submitting, hopefully answering some on the fly. If not, I'll be able to pitch those to our presenters, Lauren and Josue today. And then, of course, we have some more resources in the handouts section, a couple of resources from yesterday's presentation, as long as a couple of resources from Trustpilot as well. So let's see what else we have here. Oh, well, let's begin today's presentation. So without further ado, Lauren and Josue, you guys all set to take control for today's presentation?
Great, thanks for that really good introduction there, Nick. Like you said, myself and Lauren are here from Trustpilot in New York City, and we'll be teaching you guys some key conversion points you might have missed, be going over a couple of testing pitfalls, and really all about optimal CRO. So a little bit about myself. I'm the Global Content Marketing Manager here at Trustpilot, really managing all the content that's we're publishing from the US, the UK, and I think we have about 7 other markets that we're pushing out content. Lauren?
Cool, and hi everyone, I'm Lauren. I'm the Director of Demand Generation for the US. And so we head up, my team heads up events, webinars, any sort of paid digital, and of course conversions are a really important part to us, so we're excited to talk about this with you today.
Cool. So quick agenda, what we're going to touch on is a brief overview of conversions, the what, where, how, and why. 5 things your key conversion points need. That's really just some of the maybe non-obvious things that you may be missing that might get you, that extra 2% that really make a difference. Some common testing pitfalls on split testing, which, and this is a bit going ahead, if you're not testing, you should be. There's how to get ratings and reviews in Google. That's something we're going to teach you on specific to Trustpilot. We're a review platform, so we'll be able to show you how reviews matter in Google AdWords and your search engine marketing, and a brief overview of what and who is Trustpilot before we get into our Q&A.
Cool. So to kick it off, we'll start with the what, where, how, and why of conversions. And we'll start super basic here. What is a conversion? I'm sure everyone knows, but it's basically, it occurs when a user takes a specific action you want them to take. And we all think of this, I'm sure, as sales and purchases, but we wanted to point out some, less obvious ones, things you might not be thinking of. Newsletter signups are huge. We're seeing this as a huge trend for e-commerce. Lead generation forms, you might not think of this as being relevant for e-commerce or for B2C. It seems like more of a B2B thing, but there's a nice example here with getting free samples. That's a great lead generation form that ultimately allows you to be able to nurture these people and prospects into purchases down the road. Inbound phone calls are another conversion that you might not be thinking of or might not be tracking, but it's definitely something to keep track of as well. For some company, inbound phone calls actually are more valuable than any sort of like lead generation form or newsletter sign up. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. And last but not least is member sign-up. So when you're having a customer come back who's already created a membership with you guys, make sure they're signing in so they can look at what they've purchased in the past, and you guys can just ultimately customize the experience for them. And so conversions are happening everywhere. You guys know this, I'm sure, but the home page, product page, shopping cart pages, landing pages. One that we find a lot of people sometimes forgetting about is email, and this is a really important one to optimize as well. And then, of course, the social media ads, banner ads, display ads. While conversions might not be taking place with these ads, they are a part of the conversion optimization flow, and you definitely need to be optimizing conversions, at that start when you're driving traffic to your landing pages or homepage. And of course, the blog is another one too. A lot of e-commerce sites right now, we're seeing more and more blogs. This is another great way to drive traffic to your site and ultimately drive conversions. So how do conversions happen? I think the first 4 here are kind of the obvious ones you always think of having the right CTA, having the right UX design, the right incentives and lead magnets, and strong content messaging. But we're going to dive into these 5: continuity, credibility, social proof, focus, and personalization here in a minute, and really go into why these are important and how you can ultimately optimize your conversions with these 5 things. And why is conversion important? I think the most obvious reason is it drives revenue, but it's something that you might forget sometimes. You might be thinking, oh, I have a really great conversion rate here, and I've improved it this much, but remember to just look at how that impacts revenue. And it also is a great baseline metric for informing all of your other decisions. and proving the effectiveness of any campaigns or placements, ad placements that you've done, and any optimizations that you've made. Great, so now I'll pass it off to Josue to kick off our 5 things that you need for your key conversion points.
Hey guys, Josue here. So Lauren gave you a really good overview of, why are conversions important, what they are, and why we should be paying attention to them. One key thing that we should consider when trying to optimize our conversion rates is continuity. This is also known as message match. Marketing experiments found that utilizing and implementing continuity across the entire conversion flow has actually improved conversion rate by about 50 to 60%. What continuity really is, and I'll show you a couple of examples later on, is really being consistent in messaging and design and tone across the entire customer journey, from, let's say, a Twitter ad placement to a product page to an eventual purchase. Something to consider, there's a ClassPass example here. The search ad here says ClassPass limited time trial, choose any 5 classes for $19. When you click on it, then it says try 1 month of ClassPass for $19. That's inconsistent. You click on it because you want 5 classes, but then you're being told that you have 1 month. So that might turn some people off. Some people might not actually get ClassPass because of that. Whereas if you kept your copy there in the header, it says 5 classes down in the body, but if you kept it at the header, you might have converted at a higher rate. A more extreme example of this is this Pets for Days, where you have find your perfect pug today, give a pet a great home, you click on it, and now you're adopting a cat. Some people are dog people, some people are cat people. That'll definitely make a difference. So the big question to ask yourself is, does your offer on your landing page or your product page match the offer on your ad? If you can answer that question with yes, you're doing a good job of keeping everything continuous.
Cool. Yeah, and just to tack on to one thing there, I mean, you'll definitely notice if there's not a good message match if you have people bouncing from your page, but it can also affect if your ads are showing in search as well. So just make sure that you're doing it for multiple reasons. Conversions are a key point and having that message match, but it can also, again, affect things in AdWords. And credibility is the next one that's really important. And why it's important is that consumers need to be able to trust the message that you're sending. And if you're a smaller brand, this is incredibly important for differentiating yourself from larger e-commerce brands, and especially if you're in a crowded industry as well. And even for bigger brands, we've noticed that a lot of bigger brands find credibility to be so important because people might not trust wanting to work with a bigger brand. They might not feel like they're going to get good customer support. So regardless, how big your e-commerce store is, credibility, I think, is incredibly important. And you can take a look at this chart. We thought this was pretty interesting to see which different we call these trust badges or overall badges give you the best sense of trust when paying online. So these might be some to consider if they make sense for your business. And some different tactics here is just, again, utilizing trust symbols to improve your credibility and utilizing these on your homepage, on your product page, even in email. Staples is using this Trustpilot review score here in email, and they found that to be really effective. But this VeriSign trusted badge on the left-hand side, it helped a business increase conversions by 42%. That was Blue Fountain. And then from there, we also have Bag Servant, who utilized this WOW badge and saw a 72% increase in conversions. So while these badges might seem really small, they might not seem like a big change or seem like they can be that effective, they definitely can really have a big impact on your conversion rates.
The next thing we're going to talk about is focus. Focus might sound a bit like continuity, but there is a distinct difference. Focus is really about ensuring that your customer knows why they're on a specific page and make sure that your site is geared towards that one goal, which is conversions. The simplest way of thinking about this is just have one CTA. Don't give your visitor a reason to leave or a reason to navigate away from that page. If you're trying to optimize that page for conversion, you don't want to give a different CTA, like maybe sign up for a newsletter or sign up for a blog or sign in. You just want that one button that is essentially the conversion button on that page, because really decision paralysis is real. I think we all know it. We're marketers. We're in the office. We know what it's like when we have too many things to do and we just end up not doing anything. That actually happens on a web page as well. So There are a couple of examples. There's this US cellular image here at the middle. The CTA is actually buy now, and you can see it at the middle of the page. It's a big green. It's very small. You have a lot of different links, not only category links above, but also these US cellular, free phones always. No, as important as the buy now conversion button. Why do you have that all there? And if you take a different example, XL logo, you have a very clear CTA, which is sign up. So you have your form details, you have a little more information at the bottom, you have a couple of columnized information, but you don't have anywhere to click outside of the copyright, company, and year. So you can see we're being simple, being very direct in terms of what you want your visitor to do, and minimizing and hiding your links is a really optimal way to increase your conversions.
Great. So the next one is social proof. And before we dig into that, we have a poll question we want to ask you guys. So are you currently utilizing social proof in your marketing? So if you could just open the poll and answer the question, and we'll take a look at the results from there.
Nice. Yeah, so the results are kind of rolling in right now. Let's see what we can get up to for percentage-wise in terms of voting. Usually it hovers around 40% of the audience. Let's see if we can get that up to about 70. It's usually what it's been at. So definitely feel free to kind of submit this. It's going to kind of help Lauren and Hostway to kind of gauge their next kind of section here as well. So let's see what we're at. We're at 61% of the audience have voted. Let's keep getting that up here. Okay, looks like we're closing in on 70%. That's good to see. Getting a lot of good questions that are coming in too as well, Josue and Lauren. Looking pretty good for the Q&A portion.
Good.
So looks like we're about 70%. We're going to share the results with you guys. Cool. So can you see the results from the poll question? Not on the screen. Okay. Well, they're pretty spread across the board. So are you currently utilizing social proof in your marketing? 36% said yes, 38% no, and then 26% are at not sure.
Awesome. Okay, great. That's good to see some variety. So we'll definitely hit on what social proof is so that those who aren't sure, we can touch on that. And what social proof is it's basically utilizing your customer base to provide authentic and compelling content about your business. And it's just really important because people today, they don't often make a purchase decision without looking to see what their counterparts and other people think about your business. And they're looking for that in a multitude of ways, whether it's on your website itself, in organic search, on social media. So there's a lot of different places that you just definitely need to make sure you have social proof on. But if you can have it on your landing page, on your website, at these key conversion points, it could very well reduce the amount of looking that they have to do. It could reduce the bounce rate of them having to go off of your site, start looking online, and looking in social media. So if you can provide it to them, it just makes that experience for them a lot better, and it can ultimately drive up conversions. And one customer that's actually a customer of ours, Sugro, saw a 55% conversion rate increase when they A/B tested displaying reviews on site. And reviews are a great source of, didn't mean to click on that, a great source of social proof. But there's a lot of different things that can also be considered social proof. So you see here on the left side from Glasses Direct, they mention how many people have bought this. This is actually shown on Groupon, and Groupon does a great job of this, I think. This is at stores, again, a customer of ours. They show reviews on their social media. We actually have another customer as well that use reviews in social media, and they find that these tweets that include reviews see 30% higher engagement. So people are definitely really like to see these reviews in social media as well. And last but not least, we have ID Wholesaler who showed reviews kind of on the bottom of the landing page and saw a 130% increase in conversions and a 315% increase in revenue. So social proof can definitely have a really big impact if you're putting it on the right key conversion points and in the right way. And you can definitely test to optimize this too, to see if just showing one review makes a big difference. If you want a sliding scale of a lot of different reviews, see how press mentions work, or just customer logos, customer lists. So just something else to keep in mind.
And one thing I just want to mention, because I think credibility and social proof may be confused for one another, I would say that credibility comes from third-party validation. So we saw that graph earlier where it was Norton's security badge, which kind of displays the security of a company. is part of credibility because it's third-party credibility, while social proof is really about how do your customers see you, how do your customers engage with you, how have they responded to your products and your service, and I think that distinction really matters.
Yep, that's a good point.
And that leads me to personalization. So why is personalization important? We have a couple of stats that really showcase the importance of personalization. 75% of customers like when brands personalize shopping experiences for them. Why that's important is because 40% of online revenue actually comes from returning customers. So if brands are personalizing shopping experiences, they're more likely to return as a customer. You know, we have so many options when we're shopping. We have not only options in what we're looking for, but which brands are the ones to shop, which companies should I shop for. So just personalization makes all of that easier and makes it likelier that a customer becomes a return customer. So to start the personalization, you need to start collecting data. And you should already be doing this if you're not already. You need to collect data like location, IP address to make sure where they're coming from, what their acquisition or referral channel is that actually matters when you're tailoring shopping experiences. Do they come through social or do they come through email? Those kind of differences matter. Are they new or returning customer? What's their search and shopping history? What are their demographics? And have they left customer feedback or reviews? Because you need to know if you're dealing with a happy customer or an unhappy customer. So here are a couple of really good examples of how some companies have used personalization data. Burton Menswear actually showcases the weather outside, which I thought was really interesting. So as soon as you get to a website, you see what the weather is, and they're already giving you pieces of clothing or attire that actually fit that weather. Well, and I think that's a really good example of how you can use personalization to really just target that single individual, which is likelier to purchase because you're doing this. Something like veryco.uk, they actually just utilize a user's name. If they're signed in, they just match all their messaging to that person, and it makes it really feel personal. And then Spearmint Love and a lot of other companies do this too. If you're a new customer, their simple CTA is sign up. So how are they doing that? They're making sure you're a new customer and they're giving you a discount, and that works for a lot of companies.
Cool. And so now that we've covered these 5 things you might have not thought of for optimizing conversion rates, we will dive into some common testing pitfalls. And the first step to that is actually, if you're not testing, start testing. And if you're not testing today, it's totally okay, because it's actually surprising. I found this stat to be pretty surprising. Only 56% of businesses who are leveraging landing pages actually test and optimize them. So you're definitely not alone if you're not testing things. Or if you're just starting to and you're not testing everything, definitely expand that, because if you don't know what's working and what's driving conversions, you can't do more of that.
So one of the biggest testing pitfalls is actually not thinking about the macro conversion. You know, Lauren, in her overview of conversions, talked about things like newsletter signups or even member sign-ins in conjunction with sales and purchases. Those are the differences between macro conversions and micro conversions. Ultimately, what matter is the macro conversion, which is purchases or sales, which drive revenue. You can have an increase in newsletter sign up, you could have an increase in a click-through rate, you can have increase in a banner ad click-through rate, but if none of those things actually lead to any revenue or have not really impacted the bottom line, you're not actually gaining that way. And you need to really think about, okay, why am I getting such a dramatic increase in my click-through rate, but nobody's actually making a purchase? And that should really influence your thinking. So part of what should be done is really testing correlations between your micro conversions and your macro conversions.
Great. And another common pitfall that we see is not waiting for statistical significance. And this is something, I mean, we can even say here at Trustpilot that we've maybe been guilty of this once or twice. Because, you know, you get impatient, you definitely want to see what's working, and you want to see it quickly so you can keep optimizing things. But in order to avoid this, just go ahead and upfront set some rules to follow when implementing a test. Set what your goals are just up front, so that way you'll stick to them and not just get excited by some, you know, preliminary results that might seem really compelling, but ultimately, you know, aren't correct and aren't proving what's really going to happen long term. So some commonly used criteria includes 100 conversions in 7 days. It's something you can use, but it really depends on the amount of traffic that your site's getting, which Josue will talk about a little bit more, and just what other conversion points you're testing as well.
Yeah, and that's a great segue into not having enough traffic. And we decided to split this because the 100 conversions in 7 days metric is something that is kind of best practices. If you do some research or you check out a lot of different articles, that's mostly the advice that you're given. But traffic is actually really dependent on your website and your company. So that's why we decided to split it up. To put it in simplest terms, if you don't have enough traffic in your test, you don't have enough of a sample size, and you can't actually derive any real insights from that. So you should really run your tests on your highest traffic pages and understand if you are running a test on a low traffic page, maybe it's a product page or maybe it's a page that only can be visited through social or through Twitter or something like that. Utilize fewer variations so you're not splitting your traffic too much. If you're doing a multivariate test of maybe 5 different variants, you're really splitting your traffic by 20% each. So that really makes a difference as opposed to just a simple A/B test where you're splitting your traffic 50-50. So really make sure you're optimizing your channel and your platform when thinking about having enough traffic.
Good. And the next one is neglecting site and load speed. And this is something that is just incredibly critical to driving conversions, but often forgotten. And in fact, 57% of visitors will abandon a page if it takes longer than 3 seconds to load. The picture on the right shows that even just a 1-second delay will contribute to a 7% loss in conversions, and overall a 16% decrease in customer satisfaction. So this is just really critical to keep in mind when you're updating any landing pages or your website and you're seeing a bounce rate. It might not be just because of a design element or something like that. It might be due to load speed. So just keep that in mind whenever you're testing things.
And not optimizing your A/B testing. We decided to lump this in just because it's really important to understand what you're trying to achieve with your A/B test. Do you have a clear question and answer or hypothesis you're testing? Are you only testing one change? Because if you're testing multiple changes in a test, then it's really hard to know what's actually driving any increase or decrease in conversion rate. If you're changing your font and also changing your header image and also changing your copy, and then you start seeing wildly different results between your A/B tests or your multivariate testing, how can you know what affected what? So make sure you're only testing one change. And then this is something that is really common. You need to keep your SEO in mind when you're A/B testing. So don't click or index your test pages. Use canonical links. Keep your test assets alive. If Google starts looking for an image on your already taken down test page and sees that it's dead, it's going to ding you for that. So make sure you're keeping those test assets alive. And then use 301 redirects for past test pages so Google can doesn't actually hurt you in your SEO.
Great. So to kind of wrap things up, we'll just explain, what is Trustpilot, what do we actually do, and a little bit about how we can potentially help your business. So who Trustpilot is, we're an online review community and actually the largest review community for online businesses, and we help businesses connect with their consumers. We have over 140,000 reviewed websites on Trustpilot.com and over 22 million online reviews from over 120 countries. So we're definitely a global company here, not just US based. So if you're an e-commerce business that is selling into multiple areas, it's something to keep in mind. And then on the consumer side of things, we get 72 million visitors to Trustpilot.com. So definitely a lot of people coming here to learn about your business before making a purchase. And why we exist is first and foremost for consumers, to help them make better buying decisions by looking up review information about a company before purchasing. But for businesses, we also offer a SaaS platform that helps you automate review collection process, so you're proactively asking for reviews and not just waiting for people to leave them. You can also moderate and engage with these reviews, respond to these reviews, and leverage these reviews in your marketing. So some of the widgets that we showed, showing your reviews on your website or your review score, it's super easy to kind of copy and paste those and put them on your website. And ultimately, we just want to help businesses improve and grow through customer feedback. And so how we can help, I mean, we've talked about it, I think, a little bit earlier with social proof and credibility. Using reviews on those key conversion points is a big part of it. So powering your site with trust, number 3, is one key thing we can help with. We can also help you with standing out online, though, whether it's paid search, showing Google seller ratings in paid search, or Trustpilot pages ranking in organic search when people are Googling, searching for information about your brand, to even having these rich snippet stars is something that we can make incredibly easy, so that you can ultimately drive more traffic to your site. Expanding your reputation too, so again, utilizing these reviews not just on your homepage, but in social media, and having these reviews, again, on your Trustpilot page that ranks really well in organic search when people look for information about you. And last but not least is improving customer satisfaction. So we see a lot of businesses that might get a negative review. They'll then reach out to that customer that they didn't realize was unhappy. They were able to actually rescue them. And from there, they've seen their reviews actually updated to show how happy they were. And they now have a customer, hopefully for life. And we have some ways that you can also look at different trends in your reviews, see what's causing negative reviews, so that you can overall just improve your business and offer a better customer experience. And from there, I think we've kept it right at 30 minutes, so we're happy to take any questions.
Nice, fantastic. So yeah, as Lauren mentioned, we'll kind of jump into questions here for the remaining portion until kind of we run out of any questions from the audience. But definitely want to thank Lauren and Josue for the presentation today. Definitely fantastic insights. Got a lot of good feedback from the audience as well. So do appreciate that. And again, saw a couple questions come in as well. This is being recorded, and all the sessions from prior, so yesterday's sessions, the 2 sessions that we currently had, and then also today's sessions has all been recorded. Everything is going to be sent out either tomorrow morning, early tomorrow morning, or on Friday. It just depends on when I can get these recordings done. Hopefully I can get those over to you guys by tomorrow morning, though. So just as a reminder. But yeah, let's get those questions. Keep them coming in. We'll kind of just finish off here with the questions for the rest of the presentation. So let's start off with the first question here from Luke. Luke wants to know, how do you know what to actually A/B test?
So thanks for that question, Luke. It really depends on what state you're at in terms of your company and what you're really trying to achieve with your company. I mean, we talked about the macro conversion, so you can start with that. You can really take a product page or maybe take a sign-up page and think, okay, how can I A/B test to optimize my sign-up or optimize this purchase page? And that's really important because that kind of sets the bar for what your future test will look like. What our recommendation really is start with what will make the most impact. So by that I mean what will make the most impact to your revenue. So really that's purchase. So start with a product or start with a specific service. Take a look at your landing pages, take a look at your advertising for that, and then just see what you can change. Can you change the copy? Can you change the image? Can you change the tone? Or can you change the entire site in terms of what's being designed or how you're actually nurturing a customer to convert?
Right, and just to kind of add on that too, really I would start with anything that you're not happy with, any pages that aren't performing the way you think they should, and you're about to make some changes to because you just don't think it's working. Definitely A/B test that. A/B test any changes that you make, and really A/B test anywhere possible when you're updating things, so that you're not just making changes and you're not really sure, if you see a decrease in conversions, why that is. So yeah, I just say A/B test anything, and definitely it's a good place to start would be product pages, but be anywhere that you're just not happy with the results right now.
Great, thanks guys. Kind of good segue into this next question here from Jamie. Wants to know, how long should you actually run an A/B test? Is there a certain time frame in order to kind of see the actual appropriate results?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and I think the overall answer is there isn't one specific answer other than test it until you see statistical significance, and that again just varies depending on a lot of different things, traffic being one of them. So some pages that have lower traffic just might take longer to reach statistical significance, but it's really important that you wait until that amount of time because certain things can just drive A/B testing results that aren't significant and overall just not correct, like depending on the time of day or if there's a holiday or something like that going on, it might make things look different than what they're actually, how they're going to perform in the long run. So, Josue, if you want to add anything to that too.
Yeah, and the only thing I'd like to add is, we covered the best practice of 7 days, but I actually treat that as a minimum. I'd say wait as long as you can. Actually, make sure you're doing at minimum 7 days, because if you're constantly checking your tests, you might actually see, oh, there's this 20% jump in conversion, and you might think, all right, test over, we know what to do. But there are a lot of reasons why that 20% jump may have happened. Like Lauren said, may have been the time of the day, may have been a season, maybe everybody was off that day or something. So the longer you wait, the more you start normalizing your findings, and you can really start seeing, okay, how is the change that I'm making actually impacting my conversion rate?
Good.
Great. Great. Thanks for the insights there. Let's see if we can jump into another question here. They continue to come in, so it's good to see. Question here from Ashley. Kind of looking for some tactics or kind of optimizations to make here. She wants to know if I'm driving traffic from a PPC campaign to a product detail page, kind of how would you recommend how to optimize this for conversion from the landing page where we send these consumers to? So I'm taking it that they're probably in B2C. So I guess what kind of tactics or improvements would you suggest in order to improve the conversion rate on the landing page from a PPC campaign?
Cool. So I think the first step is actually kind of what we were talking about with message match. That's the first thing that you probably want to optimize if you don't think you have good message match happening. And what we mean by that, again, is if you are offering something in the ad or your main message in the ad copy isn't showing up on the actual page, that's definitely something you want to optimize, because you're probably seeing some higher bounce rates that could be improved. So I think that's the first place to improve things, and I think specifically for PPC campaigns, that's just incredibly important, because you're not relying on visuals, you're only relying on that text in the ad to drive traffic to your page. So you just really need to make sure you're matching that message that you're sending. Is there anything else you think of?
I wouldn't say that there's anything specific I can say, but I would say that's a perfect thing to A/B test. Just switch around your copy, do an A/B test, see what kind of change you'd see, and I think this is an opportunity, if you have the budget, to kind of go in opposite directions. If you have a very clear and direct and professional sounding PPC ad, maybe go a bit crazy and be a little friendlier, maybe take a different tone, and again, make sure you're message matching and being continuous, but who knows, maybe that'll drive your conversion rate up.
Yeah, and product detail pages are actually a great place to put reviews as well. Of course, we're biased because we're a review community, but product reviews really can make or break things, and at this point I think most consumers are just assuming that you will have product reviews on the site, and when you don't, you're definitely potentially leaving money on the table. So just something else to think about if you're not already collecting reviews, and you could potentially optimize, how those reviews are showing up too, and A/B test that. So seeing if you can place them in a different area, or if you show, a total number of reviews versus just a few, how that affects things. So that might be an interesting thing to test.
Great. Thanks for the insights there. Ashley, if you have any kind of other questions or follow-up questions, any more insight to that, definitely just let us know. Let's jump in here to another question from Maggie. Wants to know, do you suggest that we use pictures with our social proof? I think she's referring to in terms of testimonials. Do you suggest that?
So what I would say to that, it really depends on the design and tone of your page. I think consistency is something we talked about in the past. If images are consistent with your design, I think it's worth thinking about. I don't think there's a rule in terms of testimonials or reviews with images will always perform better, because I think we're kind of beyond that. You saw in a lot of our examples, people just use text reviews because I think that kind of is enough personalization without having to go that extra mile of using images, to really try to hammer that point home. What would you say, Lauren?
I think on pictures you just have to test it. I don't have an exact answer, but one thing I will say that we've seen that helps a ton is especially if you're using reviews as your social proof, or even if it's someone leaving a comment on Twitter or a testimonial, the more information you can provide about the person who is leaving that social proof, the more credible it is. So definitely making sure you have their full name there if possible. If you might not be able to use their full name, but at least the first name. If you can have their location, age, anything like that. And this is where pictures actually can really help. If you have a picture of that person, it can really make a big difference. I don't know if you're referring to pictures of a person or just having design around your social proof. Both, I think, can help a ton. And again, it's a great thing to definitely test.
Great. Thanks, guys. Let's see, jump into another question here from Tina. Wants to know, does Trustpilot work with B2B companies? Pretty straightforward here, but.
Yeah, pretty straightforward, but yes, we definitely work with B2B companies too. We have probably started with B2C companies just because that's kind of where reviews are the most common. You know, consumers are already actively leaving reviews and businesses might not be, but we found that B2B companies can really benefit from reviews because the B2B sales process is just, it's so much more complicated. There's more people involved. They're going to want to make a really, the right decision. And so having that third-party credibility and showing the experiences of other customers is really, really important. So yes, we definitely work with B2B companies. I think reviews can have maybe potentially even a bigger impact on B2B companies. With B2C, it's just kind of expected. You need to have reviews, be showing them in the right places. But B2B, it's a great place to differentiate.
Great. Thanks, Lauren. Another follow-up question here about like kind of Trustpilot's service offering. Does Trustpilot help with SEO in terms of that?
Yeah, so we definitely do, and there's a few different ways that we help with SEO depending on kind of what you're looking for there. But the first part of it is, since we are a third-party review community, every business has a review page about them on Trustpilot.com, and that review page is totally dedicated to that business and has reviews about them. And it ranks, like I mentioned earlier, pretty well in organic search, just depending on how competitive your search engine result pages are. But for a lot of terms like, this business plus reviews, or is this business legit, or is this a scam? And again, it can just help build up your reputation, your business's reputation, build confidence in your brand. And then another way too is with product reviews. Product reviews are a great source of user-generated content. And by having those reviews on your site, they're constantly fresh and updating. It can also improve your product page's SEO as well and help it kind of move up in the search engine rankings also. And then the third way is what we mentioned with these rich snippets, these gold stars that show up under your business's page or your product page. And it just ultimately helps you differentiate yourself in organic search. So you can kind of think of it as like the Google seller ratings of organic search. And we have a product that makes it really easy to get those Google seller ratings showing, or not Google seller ratings, sorry, those rich snippets showing for both service reviews and product reviews. And again, just help you drive more traffic to your site by standing out in search.
Great. Thanks for the answer there, Lauren. Okay, let's jump into another question here. This actually is a pretty common question. Therese wants to know, many people see those emails asking for customer reviews after purchasing a product as annoying. How do we get the reviews without being seen as an annoying company? I've seen this question, countless amount of times actually too.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really great question. There are two things that I'd say about that. I'd say one, if the perception is that the ask for reviews is annoying, I would say maybe that's a good opportunity to test your copy. Try to find a way to make it seem so you're not really annoying your customer and you're really trying to help your customer, or you're trying to improve your business by gaining their feedback. I would say test that, see what kind of results you can gather from that. The other thing I'd say is that I think that's kind of one of those instances where there's a vocal minority in terms of the people who will be annoyed by that will more loudly complain about that, and I think most people don't actually have any strong feelings whether or not they're being asked for reviews. So what I'd say is don't let that deter you from asking for reviews. We have a service called an automatic feedback service that actually does that on behalf of our clients. It asks for reviews whenever a purchase is made, and that's actually really been successful for a lot of companies, just because you don't get 100% review collection rate, but you do get a sizable one. And we're talking about conversions here, we're talking about click-through rates. These percentages really matter and they add up. They make the difference from having maybe 300 to 500 reviews kind of organically as people see fit to leave reviews, to having over 1,000 or maybe 5,000 reviews, just because you're trying to get reviews that much more often.
Yeah, and I think it's a great question. Something people are always scared of, just like people are a lot of times scared of negative reviews, which we all understand, but it's something you probably shouldn't be too scared of, because I think overall what we've done when we've done any tests with consumers is consumers really like it when businesses ask for their feedback, ask what they can do to improve things. And maybe if you position it that way as, can you share your experience so that we can learn from you, as opposed to, can you share your experience so that we can benefit from it? That the way you position it really can make a big difference. And another part of it too is the timing of when you send out these emails. We help a lot of different businesses test, when is the best time to send a review invitation? Is it right after they get their purchase confirmation, or should we wait 7 days until they get their product and they actually have time to use it? And that can make a big difference in that customer experience as well, and their likelihood of leaving the review is if you time it at the right time. And also just make it feel like a continuation of that purchase journey, just another service that you're offering by asking for that feedback and making sure that they're happy.
Great. I hope that helped, Therese. If you kind of want to have a follow-up question too or anything like that, please do. But we'll move on to another question here from Nicolette. Wants to know, I've tried adding reviews to AdWords and have been unsuccessful. Does Trustpilot integrate, and if so, how?
Yeah, so this is a great question, and I think we could definitely speak one-on-one on this, because there's a lot of different reasons sometimes that AdWords might not be showing Google seller ratings. But the one thing that's most important is definitely to be collecting those reviews through a third-party aggregator that is a partner of Google. They don't, they can't just kind of accept reviews that you might be kind of collecting one-off, or they're just not as kind of apt to show those reviews. They'll definitely want them to come from a third-party aggregator. So. And yes, Trustpilot, we do have an integration with them too. We send off all of our reviews that we receive to Google on a daily basis, so that your Google seller rating is constantly updating and improving as your trust score or your overall rating improves as well. So we make it super easy for anyone who works with us to get Google seller ratings. Just basically, as long as you're getting reviews, then we will make sure that we take care of getting Google seller ratings there. And sometimes it just might take a little bit of time too. So, unfortunately, just that's kind of how things are with Google. Things might take a little bit longer than you'd like to show up or change. But as long as your company is kind of on the list of companies or list of industries that they'll show Google seller ratings for, then you should be fine, as long as you have you're meeting the review criteria, which is having I think it's 100 reviews?
150.
150 reviews. So if you don't have 150 reviews yet, that's actually another great point of why they might not be showing up. You need to have at least 150 reviews. But we can definitely dig into that on a one-on-one basis if you're interested in that too, and see why that's happening.
Nice. Appreciate that explanation there, Lauren. Let's finish off here with, let's see, we have 3 more questions trying to answer here before we end today's session. Let's see, question here from Bill. This one actually comes up a lot with some of the webinars we currently do with some our clients as well. Wants to know, how can you be sure a review is from an actual customer and not a competitor? Kind of like the ultimate question, right?
Yeah, that's a great question.
So what I would say, and I think there's 2 answers there, because that's something that we had to address, because we're an open platform. We call ourselves an independent third-party platform in that our clients don't have control over any reviews that are left. Anybody can go to trustpilot.com and leave a review for any website or any company. But that also creates complication for businesses, because we have seen on a lot of other websites where competitors just really take advantage of that fact to badmouth their competitors. So what we've done is actually allow companies to report reviews, and we have a very big trust and transparency team that really takes a look at the review, contacts the reviewer, make sure that they are a verified purchaser, make sure that they are being honest in their review, and that actually has given a lot of trust, not only by our clients, but by the community at large, just because that they know we're not only taking care of the consumer, we're taking care of the business. So they know that the review is as accurate as it can be. For clients that aren't using Trustpilot, what I would say is that be sure that you're collecting reviews in a way that matches whether or not the collection method is tied to the consumer. So that may mean not having an open review kind of option on your website, but maybe just sending a review collection form after a transactional email is sent, just to make sure that you are really getting a review from a purchaser. Otherwise, I think it is a pretty difficult challenge for any e-commerce business that's kind of just trying to do it on their own. Lauren, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you can't always avoid that because there's just so many different places for people to leave reviews. But if you can pick one review platform, ideally a third-party one, and one that has these sort of checks and balances that Josue talked about as your primary one, and that's the one where most reviews are going to. It ranks the highest in search. That I think should be able to help with it. And like Josue said, we here at Trustpilot, you can report any reviews that look fraudulent, that look sketchy at all, and we have a person actually look into them and ask for the purchase order number to confirm that it was a real purchase. And we also do it on a proactive level too. So we have like these kind of robots that we've built that scan all the reviews and try to find things that don't look quite right. So then at that point we have someone intervene. So yeah, if you're working with a third-party company that has these things in place, then you probably won't have to worry about that.
Great. I hope that helped, Bill. You can definitely follow up as well to kind of learn more about how Trustpilot helps out there. But let's finish off here with one last question. I'll kind of combine these two different questions. So let's start off here. Following up on the email reviews, saying we tried asking for feedback, but we didn't get much follow-through. Is there a good way to approach a follow-up? They have a small pool of clients, and every review makes a huge difference. And then kind of the follow-up question there is like, maybe should we offer discounts for reviews? What do you guys think?
So that's a really good question. I definitely think you should ask for a follow-up, and we've found, because we have a way to automate the review collection process, so ask for that initial review, and then send out a reminder email. And that reminder email has really helped a lot of clients, especially with a smaller pool, with getting more reviews. Because a lot of times people they'll forget, they'll see the first email, mean to do it, and not get to it. So that reminder email, I think, can make a big difference. Another way too is just, again, changing up when you're asking for a review. So we have some clients that embed a review collection form like on a website, on a landing page, especially if you have a lot of customers coming back to your site. That's a good way to do it, so you're not solely relying on email. And you can also, ask clients to, or ask your customers to leave reviews on social media. There's a lot of different channels where you can kind of remind them in a nice way to leave reviews about your business. In terms of offering discounts or sort of incentive for a review, generally we say if you can avoid doing that and just asking for the feedback, that's definitely much better. So that way it doesn't seem like you're providing an incentive for good reviews. That can turn into a kind of a bad PR situation if that were to get out, and we definitely don't suggest incentivizing good reviews. But if you are going to do some sort of incentive, just make sure you offer the incentive to everyone that you're asking a review for, and asking all of your customers for a review, and not cherry picking your top customers, because again, that's just kind of not the most moral thing to do, or and just not the right thing to do, and again can kind of get out and kind of cause issues for you. So definitely, if you're going to offer incentives, just offer it to anyone that leaves feedback, good or bad.
Yeah, Lauren, those are really great points. I think we value honesty above all because we're also servicing the consumers just as well as businesses. So yeah, we really want businesses to be as honest as possible with their collection review process. Back to the question on how to kind of get better engagement with collecting reviews. I think if you have a small pool of clients, you can take that to your advantage and see, can you personalize your follow-up emails a little more, maybe personalized to the specific client or the specific service or product that the client purchased. If you have a small pool, you can really be that much more specific. And like Lauren said, there are other channels to maybe test in terms of collecting a review, maybe right after purchase order as part of the order confirmation on the website. you could have a review form right there. That way, if somebody's annoyed by emails, they won't get an email. They maybe just leave the review right after purchasing something.
Yeah, and to kind of tie this all back into conversions, you should really treat your review invitation emails as a marketing channel that you need to convert. So A/B testing them, try sending them at different times, mix up the messaging, and A/B test that to see what's working and what doesn't. So I think that's something else you can definitely do, and we're happy to help you with that here at Trustpilot too, if you'd like.
Great. Thank you, Lauren, and thank you, Josue, for answering all these questions. We answered pretty good amount for today's presentation, and thanks again for this fantastic presentation as well. But that's going to do it for today's presentation. If you'd like to kind of follow up with Trustpilot as well, you can definitely reach out to them. Trustpilot.com. Correct me if I'm wrong there as well, but you can kind of research more information about them, and Laura, I mean, you can kind of guide them through here as well. Kind of the follow-up process too, if you'd like to, like where they can reach out to.
Of course. So Trustpilot.com is our consumer site where you can go and check out, if you have reviews on Trustpilot.com. Business.Trustpilot.com is our business site, which explains more about our offering. Or just simply email events@Trustpilot.com, or myself if you'd like, LLO@Trustpilot.com, and we can handle any of your questions specifically, kind of one-on-one. But yeah, definitely feel free to reach out, and we're happy to touch base with anyone and help however we can, whether it's conversions or reviews.
Great. Thanks, Lauren. And yeah, so that's going to do it for presentation 1 of day 2. But stay tuned. Within the hour, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, we have BigCommerce going to give our last presentation of the 2017 eCommerce Marketers Summit. We have Casey Armstrong, Director of Director of Marketing at BigCommerce. Is going to be talking about why omnichannel selling is now table stakes in e-commerce. He's going to be talking about how do you choose which platform to focus on, how your internal data will drive your external decisions, and much, much more. Last reminder here too, everything has been recorded, and you'll be able to get an email that'll be sent out hopefully by tomorrow morning, if not early on Friday. I got to get all those recordings and the slides out to you. But that's going to do it for presentation 1 of day 2 of the 2017 e-commerce marketers summit. And thanks for tuning in.
Thanks so much for having us. Thanks everyone for attending.